In this video, I'm going to be talking about the relations between expatriates, expats, foreigners with the local Yucatecan, specifically population in Mexico. So this is something that I wanted to do a video about for a while, and I knew it was necessary because I knew what I'm about to talk about was coming, right? So what we don't hear in the American media is about how many people from the US and Canada are in Mexico. The dialogue is all about how all these illegals are coming to the US. And yes, there are people that are going to the US from Mexico, but there's a lot of people that just they don't believe in they don't feel comfortable in US society, US politics anymore. And so we've left the country and we've come to Mexico. And we've been very well tolerated up until now. We've been very well tolerated because we bring American dollars, and us being here has created jobs. We tend to tip, which is not something that has been a part of local culture. And so we've been a boon in a lot of ways, but we've also created some problems. So the real estate is rising. We are changing the economy, and we're also changing the culture, even unintentionally. Like Mexican businesses, restaurants, and stuff are starting to cater to Americans and Canadians because we have more wealth, right? So we are spending more money, and so it's changing things. And a lot of Yucatecans do not like this, and I don't blame them, right? So the Yucatan Peninsula is a beautiful and wonderful place. I've lived in Playa del Carmen for 3 months, and I've lived in Merida in the northern Yucatan for about, I guess, 6 months all told. And then I was 1 month in Guadalajara, which is central-ish Mexico, almost to the west coast of Mexico. And Mexicanos have been incredibly friendly, like for the most part. I've only had like one or two encounters where people just weren't very friendly. Like as a whole, Mexicans are very friendly, right? And but I've heard rumors. I've heard rumors that in some places that there's been graffiti that says gringos go home. And this is just the reality, right? When a local culture starts getting pushed out or starts getting overrun by foreigners, they're not gonna like it, right? And I think that there's more and more people from the US that are coming here because they're not satisfied with the current political environment. A lot of us are frankly terrified by what's happening in the US. And so we've chosen to leave. And I think more of us are coming. And the more of us that are here, the more friction we're going to see with the local community. So I started a group with a friend here in Merida, which is specifically about helping expats, people from other places, foreigners, to learn Spanish in the local dialect because the Yucatan dialect is different than the Mexican, or the Spanish that they speak in other parts of Mexico. I think it's because of the Mayan influence. Apparently, people that their birth tongue is Mayan, and yes, Mayan is a living language. I didn't know that until I got here. People whose birth tongue is Mayan, it's difficult for them to learn to speak Spanish. So I think that's why the Yucatecan Mexican accent, I keep saying that, I'm so sorry. Spanish accent is different, right? At any rate, we wanted to bring people together with local people and start a dialogue about how we can be good neighbors. Because what happens a lot of the time, most of the time, is that expats come here, and even if they learn Spanish, they still tend to hang out mostly with other expats and they don't integrate into the community. This is a problem, right? So we started this group like a week ago to help people to, learn Spanish, get better at their Spanish, and also start to learn about the local cultures and traditions, because sometimes we're stepping on people's beliefs and their culture and doing it just out of ignorance. Like we don't know, right? We're not meaning to be offensive, but we just don't understand the local culture, right? But there are a lot of Americans that really strongly believe that America is the greatest country on earth. And I think that there used to be a lot of really great things about the United States. But you can't go to somebody else's country, especially if you're going to move there, and have this arrogant, condescending, elitist attitude, right? I mean, you can, but I hear about expats who are here for 15 years and they live here full time and they refuse to learn Spanish, and they absolutely refuse to be nice to Mexican people. They're very condescending. They're very elitist, right? And even though not all of us are like that, enough people, enough bad apples have kind of made it look like all Americans are assholes, right? Are just elitist assholes, right? So what we're seeing. So today I went to an exercise class, and I was talking to some people afterwards about this initiative that I'm building with a friend, to help expats like integrate with the community and be good neighbors, basically. And they were saying that last night they were at a restaurant, and so it was as I may get the story like a little bit wrong, but as I understood it, there were two Americans, two people from the U.S., and then two people that were actually Mexicanos, but they look very white, right? They don't look Mexicano, and they definitely don't look Yucatecan. So Yucatecan are like Mayans, descendants of the Mayans, and they're darker skin, and they're usually much smaller in stature, right? So these two people, they're Mexican, but they're from other parts of Mexico. Their lineage is different than the Yucatecans, and so they look like gringos, right? So it looked like there was a table of four gringos. In reality, it was two people from the US and two people from Mexico. But a group of local students were there. And I think they said there was about 10 local students there. And they started verbally harassing what they thought was a table of gringos and saying gringo, which you can say that and kind of be funny, but I mean, it is a derogatory term. And they were just being very verbally abusive. And ultimately, the manager asked them to leave, right? But this type of thing is going to keep happening and it's going to get worse. I really like the Yucatan. I really like the people here. I do not want to go back to the United States. What's happening in the US is very scary to me, and it's not aligned with my values or, where I want to be. And so I would like to stay here. It's a beautiful place, Merida, the whole Yucatan, all of Mexico, so many beautiful places. And the culture is beautiful, but I'm ignorant of a lot of it. I want to learn more, but I don't want to have to leave. I don't want to have to find somewhere else to go. And they're already restricting American visas here. So it used to be that you automatically got 6 months, and now some people are getting as little as 45 days. So they know a lot more Americans are coming, and they're not as welcoming to us as they used to be. And I totally get why. So if you are going to come here or you're already here, I beg of you, remember you are a guest in someone else's house, and you are no better than these other human beings here. And think of yourself as a casual or unofficial ambassador, right, for other people from the United States. Be polite, treat people well, treat them with kindness. If they respond to you with anger, obviously don't let yourself be in a dangerous situation, right? Don't not defend yourself from a dangerous situation, which I hope it doesn't come to that kind of thing. I haven't heard any reports of anything like that yet. And I hope that I don't. But if someone is being verbally abusive, like don't take abuse. I'm not saying turn the other cheek and take abuse, but also take a step back and think about like the Yucatan didn't even want to be a part of Mexico. It got like pulled into Mexico. And I don't even know all the history of that. That's something else that I need to learn about. So they don't even like other people from other parts of Mexico, right? Because a lot of people from mainland Mexico really look down and are very condescending to Yucatecans, right? So it's not just about Americans and Canadians and whoever else is here, because there's a lot of foreigners here. The Yucatecan, like they have a lot of anger, and it's absolutely easy to see why they have that anger. I think their anger is absolutely justified. Again, there's no reason for you to take abuse over it, but I think that we need to step back and understand like these people were displaced. They were run out of their ancestral lands, and virtually made into slaves. Again, I'm ignorant of the history. It's something that I'm working to fix. But Yucatecans don't have it easy, most of them. And now you've got another wave of a lot of white people, but also, just people from the US and Canada and other places coming here because the cost of living is great, the weather is great, there's great food, it's beautiful, the buildings are beautiful, the people are nice so far. So they're kind of getting invaded again. And I understand, like, I mean, I can put myself in their shoes and understand as much as I can as a white woman from the US, what that must seem like to them. And I'm sure that it's very enraging, especially when people are coming in and being nasty and being condescending and like being dismissive of local culture or it's not America, right? When you come here, it's beautiful and it's wonderful, but it's not the US, right? So you can't come down here or live here and constantly be comparing it and coming up and making it come up short to what you experience in the US. If you want what it's like to be in the US, then go back to the US, right? But if you're going to live here, then you need to be respectful and accept that things are different here. And it doesn't mean they're bad, it's just different, right? So I don't want to go on too long, but I just wanted to put this out here. Like, if you are thinking of coming to Mexico or you are a foreigner that is already here, for the love of God, learn at least a little bit of Spanish. treat these people with kindness, be an example of what Americans really are or Canadians really are. Like, be polite, be supportive, integrate with the community, find ways to be a boon to the people here instead of just, moving here for the cheaper rent or cheaper land or, cheaper food or whatever, right? I'm really concerned. I'm really very concerned about what's going to happen, even for people who are here like legally and they've gotten residency. As you know, I have a friend who just got her residency. She's from the U.S. And another person who, she was raised in the U.S., but her family is from here, and she just got dual citizenship. But I feel like there's a lot of anger. There's a lot of anger toward the politics in the US right now, and they don't understand that the vote was very close. It's not that most Americans made the choice. It was about half of America made the choice. But to them, they're like, oh, if you're an American, then you must be condoning, the political situation in America. So just be nice, be extra nice. Don't take abuse, but be extra nice. Be understanding of what is happening, as more and more of us come here, and do what you can, like volunteer, be a part of the community, learn Spanish, be polite, don't be an elitist asshole. Um, yeah, I'm gonna shut up now, but I'm interested to hear, like, those of you that are already in Mexico, what are you seeing? Someone said that in Oaxaca, and this is hearsay, I haven't researched this, that there's a lot of really like anti-gringo sentiment there. I haven't been to Oaxaca, so I don't know. But I would love to hear from, the people that are already here, and if you've got ideas about how we can be more of a part of the communities and how we can be more respectful, how we can integrate with the culture, so that we don't create more friction, because the friction is here. And even if you're a nice person, even if you've never been a jerk, with the political tensions right now, like it's a little tense, and I mean, that was the first incident that somebody shared with me about what happened to them last night at the restaurant. So hopefully there's not more, but I think that honestly there's going to be, and I just want to be a part of the solution, not only for myself, but for the Yucatecans, for all of all the people of Mexico. I want this to be a nice and beautiful place where we can all coexist. So thanks for watching, and let me know your thoughts in the comments.